Do you want to eliminate crowds of enemies in an instant? Do you want to stealth neutralize enemies with hacks and headshots? Or do you just want to one-shot cyber psychos? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this is the Cyberpunk 2077 build for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time in Min-Maxer's paradise. For this build, we'll use a cyberdeck along with smart assault rifles and SMGs to excel at both open combat and stealth. Just note, the stealth portion of this build will come online in the late game. For attributes, we'll start with 6 in intelligence and reflexes, and 4 in body. Then we'll level up intelligence and reflexes first, alternating between the two each level up till we get them both to 15. Then we'll level up body to 10 or so. We just want to increase our health a bit for net running for now. Then we'll go back to alternating between intelligence and reflexes till both are maxed. Then max out body, and get cool up to 18 for increased crit damage and access to stealth perks. As for intelligence perks, for the rookie tier, we want to start by getting Eye in the Sky, which reduces the RAM cost and increases the duration of covert and distract enemies quick hacks. And optimization, which bumps our RAM recovery rate by 35%. And Force Kill Cypher is useful outside of combat, reducing the sequence length of the access point puzzles. So only equip this when necessary. And warning, Explosion Hazard is not an early game priority, but we'll want it by mid game to give a nice increase to the explosion damage we'll be doing. And Car Hacker is a situational perk, but one that is absolutely broken in vehicle encounters. So again, equip this when you need it. This build will need nearly every perk point available in the game, including those from all the perk shards scattered around the map. And some perks just won't make the cut, including Proximate Propagation, which is better for close range and melee builds, as well as encryption. This might look like an obvious choice for a stealth runner, but I find avoiding a trace altogether to be a better method of staying in stealth. And subordination is good, but this high damage build can neutralize enemies so quickly, this increased duration is mostly overkill for us. For pro tier, Hack Q increases max RAM by 1, and lets you use quick hack Qs, uploading multiple hacks on the same enemy in quick succession. And our second hack in the queue gets a 30% increased upload speed. Embedded Exploit increases RAM recovery rate once again, and boosts our quick hack damage by 60% against enemies affected by covert or control quick hacks. So be sure to start a queue with one of those before uploading a damaging quick hack, though this does not work with ultimate quick hacks. An Acquisition Specialist increases the reticle for smart weapons, keeps reloading for breaking target lock, and increases lock-on speed. Once we have all these last 3 perks maxed, we can start picking up the connected perks. Data Recycler gives us 80% of the RAM cost of all hacks in the enemy's queue when we neutralize them. Feedback Loop speeds up our RAM recovery by 25% for each hack we currently have queued. Counter a Hack lets you target a runner with a quick hack when they hack you, including through cover. And Copy and Paste lets you spread that hack to their allies. These are vital when facing netrunners and useless when not, so equip accordingly. Ice Pick reduces the RAM cost by 1 for any combat quick hacks we use on enemies affected by control or covert quick hacks or distract enemies. Speculation returns 25% of the total RAM cost for all hacks affecting an enemy when you neutralize them with a combat quick hack. And System Overwhelm increases quick hack damage by 7% for each unique hack and damage over time effect you have on the target. Now, we won't be using monowire, so avoid Siphon. And again, it's best to avoid Trace altogether, so only pick up Shadowrunner if you find yourself really needing it. For our Smart Gun perks, we'll want Precision Subroutines, which increases accuracy by 2% for each unit in our Cyberdecks max RAM. And Recirculation gives us back RAM after neutralizing a foe with a smart weapon, and even more if they're affected by hacks. And with no escape, shooting an enemy keeps target lock from ending. If you've been enjoying this video so far, please give it a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot, so I can give you more of these build guides. Thanks. Now back to the video. At the Phenom tier, let's start by getting these main 3. Q Acceleration ups our max RAM, lowers the cost of hacking devices and vehicles, and increases our queue size by 1. Any hacks 3rd or later in the queue upload 60% faster. Overclock increases RAM recovery and quick hack damage by another 10%, and unlocks Overclock mode. This lets us spend health as RAM at a rate of 1 RAM per 10 health. This is why we want to increase our health by leveling body once we get access to this. And Target Lock Transfer increases the targeting reticle by another 10% and keeps switching from aiming to hipfire or switching to a different smart weapon entirely from affecting target lock. And once we have those, let's get queue prioritization to bump upload speed by 50% when we have 2 or more hacks queued on an enemy. Quickhack route drops the RAM cost down by 1 for each unique category second or later in the queue. And no monowire means no finisher live wire. Sublimation lets all RAM recovery effects also give us health when overclock is active. And unlocks Blood Demon, which returns 25 health for each queued hack on an enemy at the time we neutralize them with overclock active. Race Against Mine makes our quick hacks more damaging as our health decreases in overclock. And Power Surge gives us health equal to 5 times our max RAM the moment we activate overclock. We'll also want to pick up Terminal Velocity. This increases the velocity and lock-on range of our smart weapons each time we neutralize an enemy with one. And Targeting Prism lets us target multiple enemies while aiming, which could normally only be done while hip firing. This perk also ups the number of targets by 1. Now, while we're aiming, we can target headshots or weak spots for multiple enemies at the same time, which we could not do without this perk. And lastly, for the capstones on the Legend tier, we want Q Mastery to increase our Q size to 4. The last hack in the queue costs 50% less RAM and locks the queue till all hacks upload. Any damage against enemies with a locked queue goes up by 15%. Spillover is great in open combat because it gives our hacks a 50-50 chance to spread to another target in overclock mode. Just note, this is not a great perk for stealth, as it can sometimes spread a traceable quick hack, so I'd recommend removing this before starting a stealth mission. And last but certainly not least, let's equip Smart Synergy, which buffs our smart weapons while overclock is active, giving them instant target lock and a 25% damage boost against hacked enemies. For reflexes, let's start by picking up the following rookie tier perks. Slippery makes you more difficult to shoot when you move, and Multitasker and Muscle Memory let you shoot and reload respectively while sprinting, sliding, or vaulting. For pro perks, we'll max out Ready, Rested, Reloaded, which reduces the stamina cost of shooting either ARs or SMGs and increases our reload speed with them when above 50% stamina. And Dash unlocks, of course, the ability to dash, covering more ground than we could by dodging. Branching off from those, we want Spice of Life, increasing our weapon swap speed, Tunnel Vision, increasing our range, including lock-on range, by 20%, and Mind Over Matter won't be much use thanks to smart targeting. For mobility, pick Can't Touch This to get plus 100% mitigation chance while dashing, and skip Mad Dash, which is more useful for close range builds, Steady Grip, which is redundant with a piece of cyberware we'll go over later in this video, and Mean Streak, which is solid, but we gotta make cuts somewhere. Moving up to Phenom tier, Sharpshooter really helps bring out the best in ARs and SMGs, improving aim speed, handling, and unlocking the Sharpshooter mechanic. This ups stamina regen and cost for 2 seconds per stack to a max of 7 stacks. Now, to get the most out of this feature, we really want to pick up Shoot to Chill to gain plus 4 armor penetration per stack, and Practice Makes Perfect for the plus 7% crit chance and damage per stack. Spray and Pray won't see much use thanks to Targeting Prism, and Gun Dancer increases mobility while using these weapons, but is not a must-have. Let's also max Air Dash, which reduces the stamina cost for dashing, increases dash speed, and unlocks, of course, Air Dash. And pick up Aerial Acrobat to boost air dash distance. We'll leave Aerodynamic alone as we likely won't spend enough time in the air to make it worth it, and Air Karinsakov for the same reason, plus we don't have Gun Dancer to unlock this anyway. And for the Legend perks, with Salt in the Wound, every time you hit a target with 7 shots from an assault rifle, you double the damage for all 7 shots. This makes ARs great for tanking enemies of skull level and above. And Submachine Fun lets you swap SMGs faster, and automatically reloads them when you do. This gives you a 22% faster fire rate with that weapon, which ends when you reload normally. So when your ammo gets low, tap the reload button 3 times in quick succession to instantly reload and keep the fire rate buff up. And lastly, Tailwind not only removes the stamina cost for air dashing, it returns 25 stamina when we do. This is a great way to get some easy stamina back for the reload speed buffs for our ARs from Ready, Rested, Reloaded. For body, you want to make these rookie perks a priority, picking them up within the first 10 levels. Painkiller gives you health regen in combat. Dorfag gives you plus 100% mitigation chance for 2 seconds after you use a health item, making you tankier. Comeback Kid increases our health regen rate by 1% for each percent of missing health. And Speed Junkie boosts health regen while sprinting. And let's not pick Army of One since we're a glass cannon who doesn't want to be nearby any enemies. We'll skip the Pro tier and pick up the following once we get to Phenom. Adrenaline Rush bumps our max health and health regen and unlocks Adrenaline Rush mode. This gives us an extra health bar when we use a health item and lasts until that extra health bar is depleted or decays over time. Juggernaut grants us additional movement speed and damage while Adrenaline Rush is active. And Calm Mind increases the amount of time before Adrenaline Rush begins to decay. Unstoppable Force is a skip because the status effects it negates are easy enough to avoid. And the only legend perk we'll need here is Pain to Gain, which gives 20% health item recharge each time we neutralize an enemy while we're in Adrenaline Rush mode, helping us keep Adrenaline Rush active. Once we start leveling up cool, we won't have many perk points left, so we'll only want the bare essentials for stealth. Let's pick up the rookie perk shown here, starting with Killer Instinct, which gives a plus 25% damage bonus when we use our silenced SMG outside of combat. More on that SMG later in this video. We also want to prioritize Gag Order. Our stealth weapon won't be able to one-shot, so that delay in triggering combat will be vital to our staying in stealth. Next, let's get Feline Footwork, giving us more movement speed and mitigation chance while crouched. And Blind Spot increases detection time the higher our mitigation chance is, keeping us hidden as we move in stealth. Similar to Body, we'll skip to the Phenom tier and get Ninjutsu, again boosting our speed and mitigation chance while crouching, but also unlocking Crouch Sprinting, letting us move faster without being noticed. Creeping Death gives us 15% health and stamina, and boosts our movement speed for 6 seconds each time we take out an enemy while undetected or in optical camo. And finally, Serpentine gives us a plus 30% mitigation chance while crouch sprinting, increasing the effectiveness of Blind Spot. Now, as squishy as this build can be at times, I personally found it easy enough to survive on very hard difficulty, but if you find yourself needing to heal a lot, you can level up Tech to 4 within the first 10 levels and pick up the health item perks you see here. I'd suggest losing Aerial Acrobat, Can't Touch This, and Car Hacker when you don't need it. Going this route, you'll want to give up a little crit damage to set cool at 17 instead of 18. For our relic perks, let's start over here with Vulnerability Analytics. This unlocks these diamonds our smart weapons can target for guaranteed crits and increased armor penetration and weak spot damage. They also explode when you damage them enough, producing an EMP blast that deals AoE damage. And when we do destroy one, Machine Learning ups the frequency of vulnerabilities by 10% and the crit damage against them by 5%, stacking up to 5 times and doubling these bonuses at max stacks. Next, we'll want Jailbreak. We'll be using the projectile launch system as our arm cyberware, and this lets us overcharge it to fire 5 shots in quick succession with only 1 charge. And Launch Capacity Override increases our charges to 2. And once we've installed the optical camo cyberware, we'll want Emergency Cloaking. This lets us exit combat by activating optical camo. And finally, Sensory Protocol gives us a time slow effect when we're detected while crouched, letting us dash out of sight to exit combat immediately. For cyberware, we want the following. Raven Microcyber is the best cyber deck for dealing with crowds of weaker enemies, which is primarily what this game will throw at you. It's first available at tier 3, where it grants a plus 40% spread distance for Quickhacks, scaling up to 100% at tier 5++. Starting at tier 4, it allows Quickhacks to spread to enemies immediately. And at tier 5, it increases the chance of hacks spreading to 2 nearby enemies while overclock is active. Because this won't be available until you hit level 20, start with the Tetratronic Rippler. At tier 5++, it gives a 15% bonus to weapon damage against enemies affected by non-combat quick hacks, 40% damage bonus with combat quick hacks immediately followed by non-combat hacks in the queue, and up to 12 extra max RAM. And it automatically uploads Reboot optics and weapon glitch to all enemies within 8 meters when you activate overclock. Even after level 20, we'll want to switch back to the highest tier Tetratronic Rippler we have available for boss fights, thanks to the sheer amount of single target damage this deck does. All said, if you really want to lean more into the gunplay side of things, the Militech Paraline gives you a significant damage bonus with smart weapons while overclock is active. The COX2 Cyber Somatic Optimizer has a very high capacity cost that's more than worth it. It guarantees crits with quick hacks at the cost of 8 max RAM or 4 at tier 5++. You can get this from Dogtown airdrops and Ripper docks. But until then, use the Bioconductor, which at least gives your hacks a chance to crit. X-Disc gives you more max RAM, up to 6, more than making up for the loss from Cyber Somatic Optimizer. It also boosts upload speed by an additional 35%. RAM upgrade speeds up our RAM recovery and gives us 2 more max RAM. Cyberware is up to you. We just want to keep the capacity cost low. I went with the Sentry Kuroshis because they're intelligence attuned, giving us a small bump to all damage we deal. As stated earlier, we want the projectile launch system. The thermal version is also intelligence attuned, increasing its damage, and it has a 30% burn chance with charged shots. This pairs very nicely with the primary quick hack we'll be using. More on that shortly. Of course, we'll need a smart link, so make this one of the first pieces of cyberware you buy alongside your cyber deck. It allows you to use smart targeting, increases your max RAM, and starting at tier 3, it provides a bonus to crit damage with smart weapons. Fiend X gives you a 250% boost to RAM regen when your RAM is low. RAM Recoup gives you even more max RAM and restores RAM when you take damage. Heal on Kill gives you a little health when you defeat an enemy, and since health is RAM in overclock mode, this can come in very clutch. Second Heart lets you pop back up when you flatline. The long cooldown means you probably won't use this more than once per combat, but still, it can definitely be a lifesaver. And Blood Pump is another one you want to pick up ASAP. It's the best health item in the game and does not require an animation. Visual Cortex support increases the crit chance the further you are from your targets, maxing out at 30 meters. Only 3 of the 5 weapons we'll go over have effective ranges long enough to take full advantage of this, but it's worth it for those alone. With the 21% crit chance we have normally, the plus 49% chance from maxing out Sharpshooter with Practice Makes Perfect, plus the up to 30% bonus from this cyberware at tier 5++, gives us a 100% crit chance in the late game. Neofiber gives us more mitigation chance and strength, and Kerenzikov allows you to aim and shoot while dashing, slowing time when you do so. I like to pair this with the projectile launch system to improve my aim when firing. Reinforced tendons go on every one of my builds because it makes traversal so much easier. But if you have a different leg cyberware you prefer, let me know in the comments below. Subdermal Armor provides some low capacity cost armor. Kagato Lattice gives us even more armor, plus an additional 250% when our RAM is low. And the last thing we'll need is Optical Camo. It makes you all but invisible when active, and of course is required for the emergency cloaking relic perk mentioned earlier. Now you can't have this equipped at the same time as the projectile launch system, so go to inventory and click on the second quick access slot to swap between them, depending on whether you're headed into open combat or stealth. Now you're not going to be able to get your cyberware capacity this high through level ups alone, so be sure to pick up cyberware capacity shards, which can be found as random loot drops in the base game, on certain cyber junkies in Dogtown, and as a reward for completing Regina's Psycho Killer gig. You'll also want to level up your engineering skill to get the bonuses at level 10 and level 30. The quick hack we'll use most often is Contagion. It deals poison damage over time and can spread to up to 4 enemies within 8 meters, stacking up to 2 times. And of course, with the Raven Microcyber, that spread distance is doubled and it spreads instantaneously. Once you get Contagion to tier 4 or higher, applying burn or overheat to an enemy suffering from Contagion causes a high damage explosion, which is amplified by warning explosion hazard, and of course pairs nicely with our thermal projectile launch system, as well as a weapon we'll go over in the next chapter of this video. The next hack I'll recommend is Cyberware Malfunction. This is a control quick hack and a great one to start a queue with to take advantage of the damage boost from embedded exploit. Cyberware Malfunction does exactly what it says, disabling enemy cyberware. It also increases all damage against the target. That's a 15% damage bonus when you get the tier 5 iconic version, and this stacks up to 8 times and deals massive damage at maximum stacks. Now, as to how to get iconic quick hacks, the only way I found to get them is as random drops from hacking access points after hitting level 50. So be sure to save plenty of those for after you hit that level. Reboot Optics is another great control quick hack. It blinds an enemy for the duration, and the iconic version increases headshot and weak spot damage by 30%. Moreover, neutralizing enemies affected by this hack via headshots or weak spots gives you back 3 RAM and spreads the hack to the nearest enemy. Now that last feature is great for open combat, but it can start a trace in stealth if you're not careful. So if you want to be stealthy, I'd say use the tier 4 version. Speaking of stealth, there are a couple reasons why the stealth portion of this build comes online so late, and one of them is because the best stealth hack is not available until tier 4, which you don't get access to until level 30 or so. And that quick hack is Memory Wipe. At this tier, this untraceable covert quick hack renders all hacks queued after it untraceable as well. Now I'd recommend sticking with the tier 4 version, as the 32 RAM cost of the tier 5 and iconic versions is too high compared to the 10 RAM cost at tier 4. The next best untraceable quick hack is Sonic Shock. No, not the superhero. This quick hack deafens an enemy, making it harder for them to detect you. This will be useful as a trace-free way to get some easy takedowns until you get tier 4 Memory Wipe. At tier 5, Sonic Shock gains the ability to render a target unconscious when paired with Memory Wipe and Reboot Optics. So for the ultimate stealth KO, start by using tier 4 Memory Wipe to stay untraceable, then Reboot Optics, then Sonic Shock. Also, the iconic version of Sonic Shock only has a RAM cost of 2, so use that version as soon as you get it. When you want to do some heavy single target damage, Synapse Burnout is your go-to. The damage increases for each RAM unit currently spent when it uploads, to a max bonus of plus 400% with the iconic version. I'd recommend keeping this one equipped no matter what, but it pairs best with the Tetratronic Rippler, thanks to that 40% boost when you follow it with a non-combat quick hack. Synapse Burnout also pairs well with Overclock, dealing more damage based on RAM spent, and extending the duration of overclock. We'll go over what I found to be the best Q for this quick hack later in the gameplay chapter of this video. Short Circuit is ideal for destroying mechanical enemies. At tier 3 or higher, it gets extra damage bonuses when paired with Cyberware Malfunction. For the last spot on the list, let's pick Detonate Grenade. This ultimate quick hack is a bit situational, as not all enemies have grenades, but plenty do. Plus, this pairs very nicely with the Contagion burn combo discussed earlier, as the cost of this expensive hack is reduced by 10 after proccing that explosion, or exploding a vehicle or device in any way. This cost reduction stacks twice for a total of 20. I'd recommend not using the iconic version of this, though the RAM reduction increases from 10 to 15, it stacks only once with the iconic version, and given how easy it is to proc these explosions, you'll get more bang for your buck with the non-iconic version. Before moving on, I just want to shout out a couple honorable mentions. First, Weapon Glitch, which reduces an enemy's offensive capabilities, and starting at tier 5, also increases crit chance with smart weapons against the target, stacking up to 5 times. Now, I've already gone over how we can max out crit chance without this, but this hack is still good if you want to guarantee crits while unable to take full advantage of the range-based bonuses from Visual Cortex support. Or if you just want to shut down snipers or heavy gunners to give yourself some breathing room. The last honorable mention is System Collapse. It's first available at tier 4, and it's basically just a more expensive version of our Memory Wipe, Reboot Optics, Sonic Shock combo, but the high cost of this hack can actually be a boon, as you will see when we get to gameplay. For weapons, we want the following. Divided We Stand will be our main assault rifle for this build. It does solid damage and has a range of 36 meters, letting us take full advantage of Visual Cortex support. It also has a 20% poison chance and the ability to target up to 5 enemies. In addition, it can cause explosions that deal AoE poison damage. While this is great for crowds, we'll have an even better way of dealing with them, so I'd primarily use this gun for taking out skull level and higher enemies, due to the damage bonus we get from Salting the Wound. This weapon can be obtained during the Stadium Love quest as early as Act 2. Here, in Rancho Coronado. Next up, we have the Shingen Mark V. This smart SMG has a 30% burn chance, making it a perfect pairing with Contagion. I'd say this is the combo you want to use 90% of the time. You can find this weapon here, at Arasaka Industrial Park, in Arroyo. In the third weapon slot, we have Pizdets. This weapon is unique in that it has a silencer and an 85% headshot multiplier. The optimal way to use this in stealth is to queue up tier 4 Memory Wipe followed by tier 4 Reboot Optics, and potentially Cyberware Malfunction for particularly tanky targets. Once that queue uploads, fire away. This can be looted from Boris during the Spy in the Jungle quest, which you can start here in Dogtown. Just note, this quest doesn't unlock until well into Phantom Liberty, which is the second reason the stealth portion of this build comes online so late. We also want to make sure to get Yinglong, an iconic SMG with a high fire rate, 20% shock chance, and a chance to produce huge EMPs, making it perfect for fighting mechanical enemies. You can find the crafting spec at a suspected organized crime activity, here, in Wellsprings. Lastly, I have to mention the Hercules 3AX. This is a unique power/smart weapon hybrid. When you hit fire, it works like a power weapon, and when you aim, smart targeting takes over, and the fire rate slows. It doesn't require a smart link, but I'd still recommend keeping yours equipped regardless for the max RAM and crit damage bonuses. Like Divided We Stand, it has a 20% poison chance, but enemies poisoned by this weapon are more susceptible to crit damage, and when you defeat them, they explode into a chemical cloud, leaving behind a damaging pool of acid where they once stood. You can't swap out Divided We Stand for this, but due to the slower attack speed when smart targeting, you'll want to swap out something like Aerial Acrobat for Spray and Pray, to take full advantage of the higher fire rate from hip firing. You can find this weapon during the Roads to Redemption gig, which unlocks late in Phantom Liberty, and can be started here in the Dogtown Stadium. Now let's see how this build performs, shall we? Using the Raven Microcyber, you'll upload Contagion to a crowd, then it's as easy as aim and shoot, making short work of them. As mentioned before, you'll want to use Divided We Stand or Hercules for those tankier enemies, uploading a combination of Reboot optics and Cyberware malfunction to maximize damage. For bosses, you'll want Tetratronic Rippler. Enter overclock mode, upload a queue of 2 Cyberware malfunctions to stack those damage bonuses, followed by Synapse Burnout, and then the highest non-combat quick hack you have, which will most likely be System Collapse, to use up as much health and RAM as possible. And as you can see, this will give you damage numbers well above 17k. So that, chooms, was the icebreaker build for Cyberpunk 2077. Give it a try for yourself. And if you enjoyed what you saw here today, please like, comment, and subscribe to Min-Maxer's Paradise, the place for build guides for your favorite role-playing video games. Thanks for watching. Till next time.